Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 81. On today's episode, we're going to be doing a UCL Roundup. There were some big games this week. It was Bayern PSG, Chelsea Dortmund, AC Milan Tottenham, Benfica Club Brugge. There were some really good games this week. Let me introduce my co-host, Alex.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Guys, as always, I post a link on Twitter. If you guys want to join, feel free to. Just click on the link at Kool-Aid Podcast 10. Just click on the link, and you'll be able to join this hangout. If you want to basically discuss with us, if you want to give our thoughts, you're always welcome to. But Alex, which game do you basically want to start off with? Because honestly, I think we should start with the first game that was played, PSG versus Bayern.
Yeah, and what a game.
I mean, actually, I completely
Well, no, I
disagree.
mean, of course, the game itself wasn't great, but I think what a fixture. I misspoke.
Yeah,
It's
but
such a excuse me. It's such an important fixture for football. We already saw about 3 years ago. We saw a final, which I thought was a good game. It was very tight. Um, and well, we've also seen them face each other in the round of 16 and quarterfinals. I remember that very good Neymar performance. I believe it was 2 years ago
yeah.
against Bayern, and you know, um, it's a fixture we see often. And you know what? Compared to the other ones, I would agree this year was a little lackluster. I did see some things I liked. For example, I forget his name right now, but the 16-year-old midfielder for PSG.
Oh yeah, one Emery or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a very talented young player. But I
yeah.
thought
I thought I
what
was gonna say I
happened?
thought it was cool seeing him play at such a young age.
Yeah, such a young
What
age.
are we doing?
Exactly.
Um,
What did you do?
but no, it was cool watching him, and I thought it was a decent game. Nothing crazy there. Props to Kingsley Coman though; he never disappoints in this fixture.
No, yeah. Overall, I thought PSG played relatively poorly throughout the entire game. I thought after the 60th minute mark, maybe 70th, when Mbappe came on, PSG finally looked like an actual team, and they actually could have won the game towards the later half. I thought Bayern completely dominated PSG. I thought in the first half, if it wasn't for Ramos, it could have gone 3-0, something like that. It could have been a very big scoreline for Bayern. I feel Bayern go into the Allianz thinking like, hey, this was a missed opportunity. We could have basically finished the tie in the first leg at the Parc des Princes. They're definitely going to be looking at that as a missed opportunity. But now I think overall, I think the tie overall, I personally think it's finished. Even though PSG did show signs of improvement in that second half, their defense doesn't fill me with confidence. Their midfield was atrocious. I thought Verratti played really poorly. No one other, I think, apart from Danilo and that midfield shined. I thought Messi, Neymar. I thought Neymar dropped a disaster class. He didn't play well. Messi, without runners, without an outlet, someone to pass to, he can't do much. And I thought PSG's best player was Ramos until later
Mbappe
on.
came in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
until
and
Mbappe
I
came
would
in.
agree. I thought we saw a bit of vintage Ramos today. Definitely reminded me of his earlier Madrid days, and
Definitely
when
roll
he
back
was,
the years.
of course, yeah. And I do have to say it was a great performance. A lot of criticism has gone his way ever since. Well, not criticism necessarily, but a lot of uncertainty of his playing level because he hasn't played all that much at PSG. Injuries sadly have kept him from playing a lot, but I thought it was a great performance from him. I'm gonna do a hot take real quick. I don't think Donnarumma is as good as people make him to be.
Oh no, Donnarumma in that goal. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I mean this is something that I felt for some time now, and I don't mean it to be different or be quirky or anything, but I think he's overrated. Um, I can think of goalies off the top of my head that are better than him. Ter Stegen, Jan Oblak. Um, I would even go as far as to say I'm gonna butcher his name. The goalie for Milan, Mainan.
Magellan or something. Yeah, I know.
The French goalie. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so sorry.
the
I
French
don't remember how to
goalkeeper.
pronounce his name,
Yeah.
but um, excuse me. But yeah, I don't think he's a great goalie. And with the ball at his feet, I think he's one of the worst that we
So
see.
the top goalkeepers, yeah, because on the ball
Yeah.
he doesn't fill you with any confidence.
No, I
His
mean
shot stopping is good, but it isn't great.
yeah, and
Just
of course, we can think of like his performances in Euro 2020, and I think he's a very talented young keeper. Um, I don't think he's at that level yet where we should be considering him a top 5 goalie. I don't think he's there yet. Maybe a top 10, but
And
um,
that's stretching it, I think.
yeah, I think he still has
Even
a long way
then,
to go. I mean, he's a very young guy, of course.
yeah,
We can't be saying, yeah, he's finished. His career
yeah.
is just starting, but I don't think he's as great as people make him seem. Man, you don't have to be Ederson or Ter Stegen with the ball at your feet. You don't have to be a great ball playing goalkeeper, but you do have to be better than what he is. And I don't
Hmm.
think he's good at all. Um, but of course, overall PSG were poor. Their midfield, like you said, very, very shaky that
Hmm.
game. Um, the offense too, of course, you felt
The absence
you
of Mbappe.
the absence of Mbappe, yeah, and
Hmm.
as much as I've criticized him on the way he is, right, on his personality, I've never criticized him as a player. As much as I've as much as I've criticized him on his personality, you gotta admit the guy's a baller, and he will be arguably the best player in the world once Messi and Ronaldo leave the scene. So,
Hmm.
um,
Definitely. Do
it's
you, wait, I have a question for you. Do you think that like the tie is over, or do you think PSG can bounce back
oh,
from that one nil defeat?
I think, and
Because
I
remember,
think
they're
it's
going
not
against
over.
the Allianz. They're going to the Allianz
No,
in
no, I
Germany.
understand, but I think and feel that the tie isn't over, and I feel that PSG will win in the Allianz.
You
Um,
believe they're okay?
Correct. And before I get to that, I'll talk a little more on the performance of the team. The midfield was
Okay.
very shaky. Of course, you can't.
Yeah,
Verratti had a terrible game,
man. He was falling
and
over
this
the
guy,
ball sometimes.
yeah, and this guy's a kid. He's 16. He can only go so far. Danilo, I thought he had a you know okay game. Neymar had a bad game. Um, and Messi, I don't think he did anything special. But then again, you can attribute it to things like, well, he doesn't have players like players that are actively getting into good positions. Like Mbappe is a big factor of that because
Yeah.
he's such a talented forward. The runs he makes are great, and he'll get to the ball. He's so quick and
Hmm.
he's so technical. It's a player that was dearly missed, and he definitely can. So I'm not saying he is the glue to that attack, but he is a big part of it. I think they're all the glue to the attack. I don't think. Well, I think probably the least important is Neymar, and that's saying a lot because what the guy does is magic as well. But yeah, not very solid. Props to Bayern though. Bayern played a great game. They dominated. They knew what
Yeah.
they wanted to do. It's not easy to beat
Hmm.
PSG at home, much less in the Champions League. That it's a trophy they've never won. But of course, they have the ambition and they have the players. But yeah, I definitely do think that come the away game for PSG, I think they'll win it because we're assuming Mbappe is going to start. I think had Mbappe started, it would have been a different game.
It definitely would have been a different game.
Yeah,
But
and I think
I personally think that
yeah,
the tie is over. I've seen PSG in the league. PSG have been atrocious in the league. They played very poorly. They concede very easily. They have no creativity in the midfield, and if the front three aren't clicking and they're not all there, they create nothing in attack. I
yeah,
have no, and especially since they're going to Germany, since they lost at the crib at home. Nah, I don't give PSG any chance. I hope I'm wrong though, just to see Messi advance. But I don't think I think
yeah,
about Bayern has
and
this.
this of course talks levels of how important a midfield is, regardless of how great your
Yeah.
attack is.
Hmm.
We've seen the greatest trios up top have always had great midfields behind them. We saw MSN, they had Rakitic, Iniesta, Busquets, Xavi, and of course the Real Madrid trio of Cristiano, Bale, and
Hmm.
Benzema. We obviously saw that have Modric, Kroos, Casemiro behind it. So we see that the midfield is very important, regardless of how good your top three is. And of course, PSG's defense isn't great. But I will say this: there were some very interesting games also during this week. On Tuesday, I particularly liked the Spurs and Milan one.
Yeah,
Now, of course,
I was going to talk about that
yeah,
game as well, like right after this one.
of course, you guys know I'm a Spurs fan as well. But regardless of the loss, I thought it was actually a pretty good game from Spurs. Milan play a very Italian style of
Mm.
football.
But AC Milan had a lot of chances. Like it could have been a
Towards
very
the end of the
different.
game, yes. Towards the end
Yeah.
of the game, it could have been
Hmm.
no, but this is my. I guess this is where my point is. I thought Spurs. The first goal was an unlucky goal for Spurs. It was a terrible mistake by
Yeah. Yeah.
Romero.
Hmm.
He should have won that header. But nonetheless, They scored. I thought there was a great save by Foster on the first shot and on the follow up, but then of course the header went through. Nothing he could do there. And of course, we know Spurs defense is very shaky as well. Romero's really the only great center back they have. The rest are very mediocre. But one thing I wanted to talk about midfield wise for Tottenham was
Yeah.
the likes of Sar and Oliver Skip starting. Those are two very young players. For those who don't know, they're 20 and 22 years old. And excuse me, I have a bit of a cough. Um, and of course, we saw that they play very well. I thought Sar had a great game. Milan is a more experienced team. True, they haven't been great in the league, but I was pretty impressed by individual performances such as Theo Hernandez.
Yeah.
That guy's a baller.
Yeah.
I think he's a player that's very slept on, very underrated. When they think of good attacking fullbacks, I, I almost saw him play as a winger at times. He's so quick, and I think he's still fairly well on the ball. Like he's pretty technical, and he was such a threat the whole time.
Yeah.
I forget the name of the winger that scored. He was also pretty good. Leao, of course, what a monster.
Leao played amazing that game. He
Yeah,
did it
I
really well.
haven't.
I think it was Brahim Diaz, the player for
Ye-
AC Milan, who scored.
yes, I think it was him. Yeah, but you look at Leao and
Yeah, Brahim
I
Diaz
see
at the
him and
17th minute.
I kind of sometimes think of Mbappe, a taller Mbappe, and he's
Totally
so
Mbappe.
quick and his dribbling is insane too.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
but,
think offensively, well, real quick, I just think Tottenham they were unlucky offensively. They got a lot of good chances.
mm-hmm.
I feel at times it could have been a 3-1 game for Tottenham. They could have won it just of the chances they had. But props to Milan. They played great defense. At times it was a little dirty, a lot of fouls, but it's
Yeah,
part of the game and it's what it took. Harry Kane was locked up. They always had two center backs on him, one center back right on him as the ball was played to him, which is important because he is, I would say, the main chance creator in that team. And I thought that son had a good game, and Kulusevski was iffy,
he
but
was
yeah, no,
iffy.
I thought Milan played well, but I think Spurs for the most part played better, except for also, of course, the last few minutes where they did give up a lot of chances.
Do you believe that Spurs can basically turn it around,
Yeah, I
playing
mean,
at
and
home?
it's not even being a bias, like being biased because I'm a fan.
Mhm.
I think they're turning it around.
They're turning around. No, no, because it's really surprising me because Spurs went from being Man City to basically losing against in a very bad manner against to Leicester, and then following that result against AC Milan. It's not the greatest run of form,
No, it's a
and
very inconsistent team. That's the thing that
yeah,
kills
it's
it,
a
and the
very
defense and
inconsistent team.
midfield are always letting it down.
Yeah, you don't know if a good Spurs or bad Spurs is going to show up. But you believe that the Spurs can basically turn it around at home.
Yeah, because of course, come 3 weeks, they're gonna have Hoiberg because he was
Okay.
on a suspension. Eric Dyer will be out, which is a little, it's not the greatest news. He's also not the best center back we have, so I don't know. I think you can change him around either way. It's not gonna be a big deal. But yeah, I think they'll be good. They just gotta, and this is the problem with Spurs. They're a second half team. They
Yeah.
gotta get scored on to react for the most part. They're
Yeah.
not always the
Mhm.
front foot, but
No,
it is
yeah,
what it
it's
is.
tough. But now moving from one English team to another, Chelsea Dortmund. They played today. Chelsea lost 1-0. They played away from home. They played in Germany. No, I thought this wasn't like a poor Chelsea team whatsoever. I thought Chelsea played a good game, just poor finishing. I thought Felix had two or three clear cut chances where you have to finish that, and if Felix finishes that, it's a completely different story. Chelsea are
Yeah,
winning away from home. One clear, one poor defending, one counterattack from Dortmund, and you're left one on one against Enzo and just Adeyemi, who's who had a great run, just basically beats Enzo for pace and makes it goes around the goalkeeper and makes it 1-0. And now I think this is what, two wins out of 14 games for Chelsea after spending 700 million. It's a very poor look, and the way they're going in the league, I think the UCL is their only bet to be able to qualify for the next Champions League, because it's not looking good in the league. They're 10th, I believe.
I honestly think Europa League might be a good place to aim, or maybe the Europa Conference League. And I don't mean that
No,
in
no,
no,
but like, it's completely legitimate. Yeah,
yeah, I don't mean it in a bantering way. Like, and it's not
yeah.
even because they're rivals. It's just it's true. They're playing very poorly, and I don't see the teams above them slipping that much, or
It's
them
it's
coming
it's
up that
two
much.
wins in 14 games.
And
That's
and
extremely poor.
a lot has to be said about well, of course, Graham Potter. But more than him, I think I think like I find it hard sometimes to say yeah it's the coach's fault because at the end of the day the coach does not control the players. You can have a good setup style of tactics, and the players aren't executing it properly. Then it's hard to get results. So I don't. I'm a little. Maybe I jumped the gun a little bit on St. Potter, but I think it's been the players for the most part. Chelsea's attack is very poor despite of all the talent they have. They have players like Mudryk. They have
I mean, in this game, like Mudryk didn't do anything. I
well,
thought
no, of
like
course, but of course,
that's
I'm just
70
saying,
million right there.
yeah, I'm just saying some of the players they have. They have Joao Felix.
Yeah.
They have Kai Harvitz, Mason Mount, and well, you even have a holding midfielder in Enzo Fernandez. This team
No,
should be
I'm
a no
sorry.
brainer. This team
I'm
should be
sorry. I'm
dominating
sorry.
the league.
This team spent 700 million. The basic after spending that much money in one season, in two
This
transfer
team should
windows.
be this team should be competing for the first place or at first place, and
No,
on top of
no.
that, they should be cruising
They
through the Champions League. I'm
they
so sorry.
can they should be competing for every single trophy in every single front,
I
and
don't think they're winning anything this
be
season.
favorites and be candidates to win it after spending that amount of money.
And
You're
they
spending.
didn't spend it on 40 nobodies. They spent it on
Oh,
good
oh,
young talent.
no,
Do you know what it is? Do you understand what it is that they got Enzo Fernandez?
a World Cup winner. Yeah.
Do you know? But
Mhm.
do you understand how good he is? Like I
Yeah.
feel like people don't realize it. Joao Felix, he's been in everyone's radar for like the past 4 years, because yes, he's a good talent. Blah blah blah. He went to Atletico, but
Yeah, but he's been inconsistent.
he hasn't really shown his true potential. He hasn't
No,
really lived up to the hype. And not only that,
but
you look
is
at
that because
players.
he was in Atletico Madrid in the Simeone side, or is
Sure,
because like
okay,
he hasn't
fine.
been performing?
He was playing Brexit ball. That's fine. Now he's at Chelsea. What has he done? I
Yeah,
understand he's
exactly.
played there
No,
very
no,
little,
no,
but
exactly.
he's giving me flashbacks of Timo Werner when he first got to Chelsea.
Timo Werner,
And no
Lukaku.
disrespect to the guy, I love him as a player. I think he's been overhated, especially by the English media. But we've seen that in Germany, he's still performing. I just think he's an unlucky player. But Joao Felix is not the man to be carrying that attack. First of all, he's not a proper nine. He's a false nine. As well as Kai Harvitz, who name it, everyone else in that attack, they don't have a single proper forward. And maybe I think, in my opinion, they made a mistake in letting go of Aubameyang. Because sure, the guy isn't playing great. He's still the only real forward you have, the only real
No, no, no.
number
Yeah,
nine.
yeah, exactly. They don't have a number 9 register in the squad, and the three registrations that they've acquired was basically Felix, Mudrik, and Enzo. But Badashi isn't in the squad. You play in Koulibaly, who I thought played well, but you don't have attacking threats.
The thing is
Felix,
that's their problem.
yeah,
They have the
it's
inverse problem
it,
of
it's
Spurs.
it's poor recruitment, poor
Yeah,
recruitment.
no, but I don't think it's just poor recruitment though, because
No, because like you should be acquiring a goal scorer because what your top goal scorer is Aubameyang, who's not even in the list, who's not even registered. Like
yeah,
like
I don't think it was the smartest move. But I will say this: Chelsea have the opposite problem of Spurs. They have great defense, in my opinion. I think their defense is good. They just don't score goals.
hmm,
They don't score goals. Like and they've had this problem for more than a couple seasons. Like it's nothing new. Like before they got Lukaku, like 2020, 2021, where they were like at their peak.
yeah.
These last few years when they won the Champions League, they didn't have a proper striker.
Yeah,
No, Werner wasn't
and
scoring
then
like that.
top of their strikers, most of them don't even work out. It's just like that. But well, before we go on onto the last game, do you believe that Chelsea's will be able to turn this result around, or
If they want to score goals, sure.
because they are going to go back to Stamford Bridge, they are going to be playing
No,
at
of course,
home.
and it's a great stadium, a great atmosphere. But if they score, I'll tell you this: if they score just one goal and don't get scored on, they're winning.
No, I'm happy. I mean, that's all what Chelsea need. But I think it's just simple as this. Chelsea in this game, they didn't play poorly. They had a lot of chances. They basically, if it was for better finishing, they would have been winning comfortably, and just like that, Dortmund,
Yeah, but
even
that's the
though
problem. If
even though Dortmund played really well, they dominated Chelsea for large parts of the game. Their
they
their
should have lost.
defense their defense was poor at times, and they were lucky to get away with it.
Who knows? Maybe
Um,
they'll drop 200 million on Adeyemi.
who knows? Who knows? But now moving on to the last game, the team which the World Cup winner Enzo Fernandez left, Benfica won 2-0 today against Club Brugge. This was
I expected it.
yeah, of course, but Benfica have been on fire. They won 2-0 away from home. And what must Enzo Fernandez be thinking? Well, I mean, Enzo Fernandez basically he left towards Chelsea for the money because honestly, like when you think about it, Benfica have been playing a lot better. They're one of the most exciting teams in Europe at this moment, and they basically topped their group. They beat PSG in the group, and they basically topped it. So I think PSG, almost like Napoli, have been one of the most exciting teams to watch so far this season. And I personally think with a 2-0 lead away from home, winning away from home, I think once they go back to Portugal, I think it's a wrap.
Yeah, I really think. Well, going back on what you said real quick, I think Napoli is probably the scariest team in Europe right now. People don't
Yeah.
realize this because a lot of people hate on Serie A and they say, "Well, it's not that great of a league." In my opinion, it's better than Bundesliga and Ligue 1 and the Eredivisie. I generally think it's like the third best league.
Yeah, yeah. You,
But
you make a shout.
but beyond that, I just want to say Benfica are a very, very good team. People, and again, that's another thing that people don't realize. It's such a strong side, and
Yeah.
they're gonna when they beat Club Bruges at home, which they will. You're gonna see whoever they play, they're gonna give them a headache. Whether they win or lose, it's gonna be hard to beat them.
Yeah, it's
They're such a good balanced team. They have everything.
yeah.
They have defense, midfield, attack, and it's not even because of crazy players. Like I believe what's his name, Gonzalo the
Gonzalo
Ramos.
Ramos.
Yes, yeah, I remember it was like a Hispanic sounding name. Yeah,
Yeah.
Gonzalo Ramos. You have a player like that in your team. He's definitely gonna sell for close to 100 million in a couple seasons. Mark
I
my
mean,
words. No, this is what they do. Benfica are the greatest. Um, well, I would say talent developers because it's not necessarily from their academy. They just buy players when no one
yeah,
really
they, they,
knows
they
them.
they have some really good scouting because then you also have to think of Ajax, you have to think of Dortmund, you
Yeah,
have to
but
think of
that's different because
Barcelona.
Ajax, for example, Ajax is player development, like youth,
Yeah.
and same with Barca. But again, Dortmund, I think they also make really good scouting. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. He'll probably go to an English team. Maybe Chelsea need him. Um, so we'll see. But
We'll see.
but
We'll
for sure,
see.
I thought it was a good game, and I do see Benfica closing this out. There's just not much to say. Solid
Okay.
performance.
Okay. So your picks is PSG to advance,
Mm.
Tottenham to advance, Chelsea to advance,
But God willing, God willing for sure. We'll see.
and Benfica to advance.
Yeah,
Those are your picks. My picks
yeah. I would
are
say you said Dortmund for me, right? Over Chelsea.
uh, I'm gonna go with Bayern are gonna advance. Bayern are gonna advance. I believe Tottenham are gonna advance as well. I think they're gonna beat AC Milan at home, and I think it's gonna be by like a 1-2 goal margin, something like that. I believe Chelsea's gonna advance, and I believe Benfica's gonna advance. I think it's gonna be like that. Uh, but next week, I think that one's maybe going to be a little bit more exciting with Real Madrid Liverpool. Let's hope that game is a little bit more exciting. Um, but guys, that was it for our UCL roundup. As always, I post a link on Twitter if you guys want to join. Feel free. I call it Podcast 10. If you want to basically join, you're always welcome to. And let us know down in the comments if you basically agree or disagree. And guys, I posted our basically Man United versus Barcelona preview. But Barcelona are playing tomorrow in the Europa League at home. Make sure to check that video out, guys. It's up on the channel. But as always, guys, like, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye.